Hey everyone. So in this video, we're going to talk about a very, very simple band setup that we can use to facilitate greater load capacity into the distal quadriceps. Now, if you watch some of our earlier videos on YouTube, you might remember a video where we spoke about the importance of maintaining some level of tibial flexion as we're extending the knee and the hip to maintain some load into the distal quadriceps. Because when the tibia is maintained towards some level of flexion, it means that the mass of the head, arms, and trunk and gravity is trying to put more flexion into the tibia. And that greater push into greater tibial flexion will really challenge the distal quadriceps to maintain that tibial position. Because if the tibia was just to flex even more so, it would reflect that the distal quadriceps weren't able to maintain that tibial position. But if we also see a very quick extension of the tibia and an extension of the femur, then it would also represent that the distal quadriceps weren't able to maintain that position, because the knee is just moving back into a closed pack position towards extension, where there's less variability and less of a muscular challenge. So what you're going to see in this video here on the left-hand side is you're going to see the therapist here move into hip flexion, knee flexion, ankle flexion with a wedge under the heel. I'll bring up the video now. But then on the force generation portion, where we're trying to get some extension into the knee and into the hip. Mainly, what we're going to try and do here is maintain some tibial flexion and try and generate that extension via the femur. But you're going to see the trunk hinge forward and the hips shoot behind. And what that's going to do is going to drag the femur back into extension, which is going to drag the tibia back into extension as well. So we have that wedge underneath the heel here to make it easier for the tibia to progress into more flexion. What as you'll see here is on the force generation component of this exercise, you're going to see the pelvis shoot behind. This is going to, like I said, drag the femur back into extension. The femur is still flexed relative to the trunk, but relative to the tibia, it's extended. So it's going to drag the tibia back into extension with it. And as a result, the tibia is more vertically orientated. So there's no maintenance of tibial flexion and thus no major challenge through the distal quadricep. Okay. So watch another rep here. So what we can do here is we can use a very, very easy band setup where the band is anchored around an object in front and then wrapped around the upper back, as you'll see in this video here. And what this band pull does from the front is it tries to pull the trunk into more flexion. And this is going to encourage the client, the therapist in this situation, to resist that forward pull and maintain more of an upright trunk. So what we can do here, or what that will do, is it'll allow us to maintain that force production via a slow femoral extension. Because if the femur is the thing that's extending slowly, then it allows the tibia to maintain some level of flexion. And then as the femur approaches towards its end range level of extension relative to the pelvis, that's when the tibia will begin to extend. So we're trying to slow down that tibial flexion, or that tibial extension, I should say. We're trying to slow down tibial extension and maintain some level of tibial flexion here. We're driving through the heel here to really concentrate more load through the distal quadricep. But the key thing here is the band setup. So it's very similar to holding a weight in front to counterbalance that force back the way. So if we have a weight in front, it's going to try and pull us forward. So we have to resist that movement by bringing our body mass back the way. So it's going to encourage more of an upright trunk versus a flexed trunk, which would represent that the weight is pulling us further into flexion. Okay. So it allows us to concentrate that motion around the knee. But of course, we're focused on the coordination of the coordinative interaction between the femur and the tibia here. So we want most of the motion occurring from the femur at the beginning, and then the tibia will begin to extend. But hopefully you can see that slowing down of tibial extension in this scenario here, which will allow us to, again, concentrate a lot more load into the distal quadricep. Okay, so just a really easy band setup there. Again, some clients may not have the capacity to hold the weight in front in a goblet squat, for example, a goblet squat-like setup. So using this band setup can facilitate a similar behavior of the trunk to, again, help slow down that extension of the tibia and concentrate that extension around the knee. But again, like I said, we're focusing on the timing of the extension of the femur and then slowing down that extension of the tibia.